Hi everyone, and you're very welcome to today's yoga practice, which is going to be a lovely wind down yoga. So we're going to take it really slow, really gentle, and we're going to enter into these poses in a much more passive way. So similar to a yin based practice, if any of you are familiar with that, where we're really just going to surrender into the pose, and we're just going to let whatever comes up come up, and just taking those lovely deep breaths and allowing yourself to be still and present and releasing any tension, releasing any of the emotional blockages in the body, and just coming back to yourself. So let's take a lovely grounding breath to begin. Sitting cross-legged, let's take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. And as you exhale, slide out through the mouth, let it go. Release the day. Well done. So I'm going to use a bolster for today's practice, but if you don't have a bolster, you can use a pillow from the bed or cushion from the couch. It's basically just to have something to support you, to let the ground come up to meet you. So starting on all fours in our tabletop position, we're going to bring hands underneath shoulders and knees are underneath the hips, and then slowly start to move your big toes to touch and send the knees out nice and wide. As you inhale, start to lift and lengthen through the crown of your head. And on your exhale, you're going to send your sit bones back to your heels, taking your bolster and placing it lengthways on the mat, drawing the bolster all the way back towards the hips, and then gently finding a supported child's pose as you rest your chest and heart and head over. So you can keep your head to one side, or you can rest your chin across the front of the bolster, whatever feels more comfortable to you. Just allowing yourself this time to fully relax and connect. Letting go of the day, not trying to force or stress anything here. Just breathing into this lovely, relaxing posture. Gently opening the hips as you do so. Releasing the spine. Releasing any stress or anxiety as you breathe deeply into the body. Let's take one more cycle of breath here. And on your next inhale, slowly start to walk your hands back underneath shoulders. Release the bolster out to the side of the mat. And let's come up onto all fours once again. So finding your tabletop position, we're just going to loosen out the spine gently. So on your inhale, send your belly to the mat, tailbone to the ceiling, gazes forward, chest and heart center forward, finding a lovely cow pose. As you exhale, round the spine, push your hips forward, drop the gaze between the legs, lift up through shoulder blades, find a lovely cat pose. Inhale as you come up for cow. Exhale for cat. Well done. Gently come back to your neutral tabletop position. And then from here, send your right knee up towards right wrist. Turn your right foot out to the side of the mat, so out to the left side, and walk your left leg all the way back. So we're moving into our pigeon pose. Press your left hand towards the sole of the right foot and try and guide that right knee back to line up knee and ankle in line as best as you can. Take your bolster. Place it towards the lower leg, so inside that right ankle. So base of the bolster is towards your pelvis here. Your hips are square, so we're facing hips towards the front of the mat. And then as you exhale, slowly start to fold, melting your chest and heart over the bolster. Finding this lovely supported pigeon pose. Beautiful one to loosen out the outer hip, outer glute. Also getting into that left hip flexor. But being able to just collapse and surrender the chest, the heart space all the way down. Releasing the day, releasing the breath. Our hips are said to hold and store all of our emotions. So it's a lovely one to release any emotions there that may be blocking, maybe stirring up close to the surface. Just know this is your safe space to let it all go. Accepting whatever is. Just breathing in the present moment. Well done. Let's take one more cycle of breath here on this side. Deep inhale, breathe deep down into that right hip. And as you exhale, see, can you sink your sit bone a little bit deeper down towards the ground? Well done. On your next inhale, slowly walk your hands back underneath the shoulders. Let's release the bolster out to one side. Tuck your left toes under, elevate left leg. Draw your right knee back underneath right hip, left knee underneath left hip, coming back to your tabletop. From here, let's walk the hands forward slightly as you move left knee up towards left wrist and turn the sole of the left foot over towards the right side of the mat this time, walking your right leg all the way back. So moving back towards your pigeon pose, trying to line up that knee and ankle in line as best as you can. And then drawing your bolster or your pillow back towards the pelvis, squaring the hips off. And as you exhale, then slowly starting to fold. So feeling that lovely stretch activation along that left outer hip and glute. And try not to tense it. So really trying to soften and relax everything here. Let everything fold. And also if it's too much, even with the bolster there to support you, feel free to keep the hands resting on the mat. So if that's enough of a stretch for you, if the hips are really tight, don't worry about getting the chest all the way over the bolster. This is just an option for you if you wish. So really breathing into that left hip space, releasing any emotions, releasing any anxieties, worries, or fears. As you inhale, breathing in this deep sense of self-love and compassion, showing yourself much needed kindness, acceptance, non-judgment. Breathing deeply. Well done. On your next inhale, you can gently start to walk hands back underneath shoulders. Release the bolster out in front. Tuck right toes under, elevate right leg, and draw the left knee back underneath the left hip, right knee underneath right hip. From here, we're going to bring both knees together and send the knees out to the side as you come down onto your sit bones. So taking the bolster, we're going to place it underneath the knees. This is a lovely posture. So the knees will be a little bit wider than your hips. You're going to sit up nice and tall to begin. And as you inhale, start to reach all the way up with both of your hands. As you exhale, start to move your arms inside the legs. So hands come in towards the inner arches of the feet. And be careful not to round the spine here. So the spine is nice and straight. We're just starting to melt forward. So your legs are fully relaxed over the bolster. Your gaze can drop down. Maybe elbows connect to the bolster as well. Here, back at the triceps, just finding our caterpillar pose. So beautiful forward fold. A lovely one just to relax and soften. Noticing where you're feeling the tension in your body. Maybe it's in the neck, shoulders. Maybe it's more along the spine, or could be the back of the legs. So I'm actually feeling it more in my legs today, which is interesting because I always usually feel it along my neck and shoulders. So just tuning into where you're holding stress today, where you're holding that tension in your body. And try to invite a sense of softening, the sense of surrender, of letting go and just being with where you are. Keeping that lovely even pace of breath. One more cycle of breath here. And as you inhale, gently start to stack the vertebrae one by one, crown of the head up last. We're going to place the soles of the feet to the ground. Reach your hands forward as if someone's lifting you towards the front of the room. And then as you exhale, tiny tuck of the tailbone towards your pubic bone as you lower back, middle back and upper back. We're going to roll the bolster all the way up towards the glutes, press into the feet. And as you inhale, tiny little lift of the hips to allow the bolster to roll up and cushion the top of the sit bone. So the top of the glutes here, kind of towards your tailbone. So your tailbone, top of the glutes are resting over the bolster, keeping those hips up just a little bit higher than the heart. Option to extend the legs long, feeling that lovely release in the lower back, relaxing the hands down either side of the hips. Closing the eyes, feel that lovely stretch and release from the lower back space. Feeling the weight starting to move back towards the shoulders. And as we lift the hips up a little bit higher than the heart, starting to bring the blood flow all the way back towards the heart space. connecting with your body and your breath, slowing everything back down. One more cycle of breath here. And then on your next inhale, placing soles of the feet to the ground. We're going to start to extend the right leg all the way up towards the ceiling, followed by the left leg as we find our waterfall pose. Now you can also use the wall for this as well, so bringing the legs up the wall. And as you start to lift the legs should feel weightless. So there shouldn't be any strain or activation in the legs. They're fully weightless here, supported by the bolster underneath those hips, underneath the sit bones. And all your weight is pushing back in towards your shoulders and towards your heart space. And just feeling that lovely change in blood flow as we bring all that blood back towards the heart. This is a really good one to help with inflammation in the legs, but also to help bring a deeper sense of grounding. So we're really focusing on the heart center here. A lovely one to do before bedtime. This whole practice is a gorgeous one to help with your sleep quality as we relax the whole body and mind. Close your eyes and start to connect back into the body here. Noticing the sensations that are arising. Are there any emotions bubbling towards the surface? Just observing. Try not to attach to anything, just witnessing it as it arrives. Take another slow, deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, slide out through the mouth. Start to bend the knees. Relax the feet down towards the ground. Press into the soles of the feet and lift the hips up off the bolster. Roll the bolster down towards the back of the knees as you find your supported Shavasana pose. So keeping the knees out nice and wide, feet turned out, palms face up. Whole spine is flat to the mat and close the eyes. Relaxing back into the ground. Feeling anything new in the body. I know I can feel the tingles in my feet as we change the blood flow. And just allowing yourself to fully accept where you are right now, both physically and emotionally. And knowing that even if that inner critic arises, whenever it does appear, it doesn't define who you are. Sometimes it's there as a protective, defensive mechanism. But now we want to bring the power back to you to choose whether you listen and believe it, or whether you simply observe, take that step back, witness it, and then choose to let it go. Bringing back in that deep sense of love, compassion and kindness to yourself. And when you're ready, take one more deep cycle of breath. Exhale, slide out. Slowly start to move your forearms down to the ground. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Walking the elbows back underneath shoulders. Slowly coming back up towards a cross-legged position on your mat, just as we started. Let's bring hands towards heart center as we tuck chin towards chest. Bowing our heads in gratitude. Showing gratitude to yourself for being here, for giving your body this movement and your mind this break. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. And have a lovely day or evening whenever it is you're taking this practice. Namaste.